Hello everybody, it's your boy Zack back to attack yet another video, and today we are going to be taking a look at 2025's The Accountant 2. Just recently I did a review for 2016's, The Accountant, the one that started this all off, and I felt like, let's go ahead and go see that movie and let's review this. And I am a little bit late to the party on putting this out there because it's been out since like the end of April, and I saw it like one of the first weeks into May. I'm doing it now, whatever. Anyways, let's get into my review for The Accountant 2. For those of you who don't know what this movie is about, this is about the accountant, right? I know it's crazy, I know. The accountant, who is, Christian Wolf, or whatever, that's one of his aliases that he goes by, he continues to go by. Anyways, it's about Christian Wolf and him using his brilliant mind and illegal methods to help reconstruct the unsolved puzzle that is a treasury chief's murder. I noticed that this film brought back like a lot of the cast from the original first film all those years ago, or whatever, back in 2016, like 8.5 years ago. And they brought them back, just even minimal roles. Anna Kendrick did not come back for this, but it has like the main players, which is Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. It even brought back J.K. Simmons, although his role in this is very minor, even more of a minimal role than he had in the first Accountant, which his role in that was also very limited, but this is like very, very much more limited than that. But it also brought back somebody that was working with J.K. Simmons' character in the first film. She goes by Medina, that's her last name, that's what I'm going to refer to her as. So really the core characters in this film are obviously the accountant, Christian Wolf, his brother Braxton, who is a hitman for hire, as well as Medina. And I would say when these three characters are on screen together, that's when this movie really shines. Of course, it's great to see the brothers together a lot more in this film than we got in the first film. And we really do see the chemistry come forward with the actors, Jon Bernthal and Ben Affleck. They work well together, and you really can buy that they have this estranged brotherhood type bond. And they're both trying to do their best in their own way to repair that bond that has become like even more and more strained over the years, even between the gap of the first film and this film. And it's, I would say that's probably one of my more favorite parts of this, is whenever you see like Jon Bernthal and Ben Affleck kind of have like scenes together and they just kind of like banter off one another. Sometimes it's fun whenever like, there's a lot of moments in here where they are like, they're just being witty, and there's a lot of comedic things in here, and I think some of it works, some of it doesn't. Some of it I thought was just cringe and just a little bit too much and just wasn't all that funny as it maybe thought it was. Other parts I did think was funny, and I think these two worked well together, but I thought like the script was kind of what was holding them back. Like Jon Bernthal is an amazing actor. I've talked about that before, and I just love that actor, and I think that he did the best he could with the script he was given. And some of his parts, it just seemed jarring to me. Like I just felt like he was like really trying to make me think that he was really just vibing with the moment of the scene that he was in, like the bar scene. Just some of it just felt a little bit disingenuous. Like it didn't really feel like, I don't know, just something in the way he portrayed. It just felt like he really was playing a character, and I didn't like get in. His performance didn't really pull me in and make me feel like this character was alive. I don't fault Jon Bernthal for that. I think there's just something with the script or the directing that just didn't do his portrayal justice. Same thing can be kind of said with Ben Affleck's character. He obviously has to play a different kind of role than say Jon Bernthal's character, and he does what he does well. They really like I said, they utilize humor a lot in this film compared to the first one. The first one is more like a gritty kind of like action film, or not. I mean, there really isn't a whole lot of action in that film, but it is a lot more gritty, and I would say like any humor in that film is very minimal, whereas this, it feels like it was going for more of like an action comedy kind of thing. Like it was trying to be something that the original wasn't, and it really kind of takes you out of it. I thought it took me out of it, at least, like at times, not all the time. I think some of the comedy hit, some of the comedy didn't. it was just really weird because the characters really don't seem at all like their characters in the first film. It seems like it feels like whoever came back to do this all these years later didn't fully do their homework. John Bernthal's character seems similar, but not entirely as the character that he seemed to be portrayed in the first film. And then the same thing goes with Christian Wolff. It seems like he's playing a caricature of a caricature. It feels like Christian Wolff's character is trying to play Christian Wolff from the first account. That's how it feels to me. It feels like the character itself is trying to portray the character from the first film, but doesn't fully do it. You know, it's weird. I don't know. So J.K. Simmons' character is back in this for a little bit, and you know, Ray King is his character, and he is investigating in his retirement. He like basically kind of like is going broke over investigating this one particular case, and he's spent so much of his retirement and just wasting away his money just on this one particular case. It just seems so out of place. Like he's investigating this thing on his own, and like I get like something he must have been like they just don't explain why was he so dedicated to that one case. I like they kind of explain it, but they don't, not enough, not in my opinion. And I just feel like it's really weird and it really didn't make sense. So I don't know, that's just kind of like problems I had with this film. Anyways, let's just go ahead and kind of get into the overall scores, and I'll kind of touch up on some other things as I go into the full rating of this film. So let's start off with the first of the 5 sections of the rating of this film. The first section being the emotional impact. I thought the emotional impact, you know, the actors did what they could. I don't really blame the actors at all. I think it's either the writing or the directing. I feel like it kind of hindered their performance or their level of skill in their acting abilities. And so, yeah, I don't know. Like, I laughed sometimes, and I was invested in the action a little bit here and there. You know, there's some brutal, you know, bits here and there, and I don't know. It was fun. It was interesting. I definitely had more of a fun time when all the 3 main characters were on screen together, and their conflicting ideals and ways of going about things kind of clashed with one another, and kind of created like some comedic moments and some levity and some like just some intriguing like back and forth and witty banter. It was nice to a point, and but that only got the movie so far. So for the emotional impact, I'm gonna have to give it a 5.5 out of 10. Now, as for the characters, I like them. I don't think I like these versions of them. I think I like the ones in the first Accountant a lot better. I thought Kristen Wolff was better in the first Accountant. I thought Braxton was better in the first of the Accountants. I will say Medina, I mean, she didn't really have a whole lot to work with or go with in the first film. I thought the actress was good, and she did a good job performing that character and was engaging in the first film. But whenever it comes to this one, this character actually does get a lot more fleshed out, and you get to see a lot more of that character. They really do seem to be a lot more front and center of the storyline than they were in the first film, and I like that. I appreciate that. But even then, just the characters as a whole, I thought, I don't know, there were some cringe characters, and like not to like target the group of kids that are on the spectrum, which, you know, there's like a little like group of kids that are on the spectrum, and they're helping Christian Wolff, who is also on the spectrum, and they're like these amazing geniuses, and like I'm not saying that can't be true. It was just a little, sometimes it was laughable at like the things that they were supposedly able to do, and then how they went about it. And I just like every time that group of people were on screen, I was like, please, let's go to something else, please. There was only one of his like friends that were on the spectrum in that little group that I thought we were gonna see, and we heard her voice throughout the film, but we never really saw the actress there for some reason. I don't know why, but anyways, tangent aside, yeah, the characters, I thought they were okay. Some of them were improvements from the first film, others were not. I am gonna give the characters of this film a 5.5 out of 10 as well. Then whenever it comes to the plot of this film, I thought the plot of the first film was convoluted. This one was even more so, I think. The first film's plot really is not as bad in comparison whenever you think about it. I don't know, because like this film, like it encompasses like human trafficking, or child trafficking, all these different traffickings. And I don't know, like, this is called The Accountant. There isn't really a whole lot of accounting in this film, and not that you want this film to be about an accountant doing accountant work. I mean, like in the first film, he actually had a job as an accountant that ended up getting him into criminal trouble. And because of his past, he was able to, go up against that. But in this, it's just like, it's that guy. He happens to be an accountant, but we're going to have him do things over here. Yep. And just a lot of the times during the film, I found myself asking what is going on. I was just like, in my head, I was like, what is this? What's going on here? Where are we? What does this mean? Why? I was just asking myself so many questions, and it didn't really like give me the right answers, or just enough to like keep me invested in wanting to know more. I just kept being like, all right, let's just get back to like Christian Wolf and Braxton or whatever, because I don't care. I just don't care. So I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the plot in this film, and that's why I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Then as for the dialogue, I kind of already mentioned that I thought the script was kind of weak, and that kind of hindered the performances of the actors. So yeah, I thought the dialogue was a little bit stale. I thought it was a little bit cheesy and cringe at times, but other times I did feel some emotion. I laughed. Like, I don't hate this film. I definitely don't like it near as much as I did the first one, but when it comes to the dialogue of this film, it definitely was a step down from the dialogues going on in the first film. So I'm going to give the dialogue of this movie a 5 out of 10. And then as for the cinematography, I thought the cinematography in here was decent. I didn't really have anything really negative towards the cinematography in this film. I thought towards the beginning of the film, when they were reintroducing Braxton's character, I thought the camera movements and the way things were kind of flowing cinematically, I thought it was actually pretty cool, and I liked it. And there were even like a couple moments towards the end in the big climactic part of the film at the end. I thought that the shots were actually like, whoa, that was cool. I like that. I like how they did that. That looked pretty decent. But aside from that, the cinematography wasn't all that spectacular. The action within this film, there was some gruesome moments. There was, it was fun fluff action to just fill out the time. There wasn't any it didn't feel like there was any weight behind it really. But again, that goes more towards the dialogue or the writing and all that. So as for the cinematography, I thought it was decent, and so that's why I'm going to give the cinematography a 6 out of 10. And now I'm going to take all those different ratings, crunch them up together, and the overall score for 2025's The Accountant 2 is a 5.2 out of 10. So yeah, whenever it comes to comparing these two films, The Accountant and The Accountant 2, I like The Accountant 1 more. In fact, I gave The Accountant, the first Accountant, 2016's Accountant, I gave that's a whole point higher than this film. That one I gave a 6.2 out of 10. This one was a 5.2 out of 10. And that wasn't even by design. That's just how it ended up working out. So yeah, this is it's definitely a step down, and it's a real shame because I was excited to see this because I love John Bernthal. I loved the first Accountant movie. I thought it was good, and I really thought there was a lot of potential and room for a sequel. I thought that way back in 2016, and then unfortunately it never came. And then now, all these years later, it seems too little too late, in my opinion. Sure, I'll take an Accountant 3, and sure, I'll probably go see it just because it really just seems like there was so much potential for like a really solid, great follow-up to the first Accountant. I really thought the potential was that it could have rivaled the first one. I really did. And the trailers kind of, I was like, it seems like they're really going for a comedic thing, but who knows? Maybe it will turn out great, especially with now getting John Bernthal and Ben Affleck on screen together a lot more. And while those scenes really did carry the film, it definitely didn't save it. So that's unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't care. Anyways, that's my review for The Accountant 2. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know. I thought it was okay. It's my personal opinion. It's my personal opinion. Okay? Okay. Anyways. And without further ado, fellow Zackalites, if you like the video, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Anyways, I've been Zack Attack, you've been you. Thanks for watching. Love you!